women that run the churches. In the environmentalist group, it's the women that run these groups. Albeit they have men at the head like the powerful revolutionary Frank Peterman, but because he is a politician of a sort and has been in the political arena, he uses the people he can trust the most and who are less threatening, and that is women. They will get out there and they'll go to work and they will do the job. But the Most High said, I put the man who was made in my image ahead of the woman, not to be under your foot, but to be a helper. And so the men, whether it's in the environmentalist movement, whether it's in the social movement, whether it's in the church, use the women as tools of oppression, and they continue to oppress. Now, when we talk about who let the dogs out, the question is, why is it that we can have a young man standing at a bus stop? And let me show you how close to home this last tragic incident. The lady that takes care of my mother, Mrs. Zimmer Lawson, who comes from preventive care and comes into my mother's house, it was her nephew who was standing at a bus stop, who was a great student, a tremendous athlete, and hadn't done anybody any wrong, just standing at a bus stop, and was shot down like a dog, worse than a dog. And we find that these rabid dogs that run the street are being protected by a system that's also destroying them. But they're also being protected by the mothers that produce them. The mother is designed for nurture, love, and care. But the man was put at the head because he looks beyond the nurture and the care, because he has to be able to, in order to develop a man, men have to learn how to sacrifice. And when you don't have sacrifice and you just have that nurture and care where women come into the picture, you get released on the community and on the society rabid, wild dogs that will kill indiscriminately. I mentioned Miss Lawson. It was her nephew who was shot down at the bus stop. And it is that situation and many, many more that have happened just yesterday and that are still happening that are at the very core of why we in our community are running from our own children. I have to look at my own family. And even though my children came from a two-parent household, I still have the vestiges of that same mentality because of the struggles that their mother, my wife, my first wife, who is still my wife, even though she's gone and married somebody else, because of the disarray in my household, and because she wouldn't follow my lead, my own children came under the same attack that you see in the community. And because I would not allow that type of disrespect in my household from my eldest, who will lie to me to my face, to my daughter, who is loudmouth and disrespectful just like her mother, but she's married now, so that ain't my problem no more, to my youngest son, who, once I chastised my daughter from the last time, he came to her and said, well, why are you acting like you scared of daddy? And I heard him. He didn't know it. And when I was able to catch up with him, after I had done my regular 5-6 mile run, I asked my wife at that point to put him out with me. I checked his pockets because he liked to carry a little knife and little weapons with him. And then I asked him, why would you open your mouth to your sister about me in my house? And rather than him apologizing, he's going to go off into his disrespect. And before I knew it, I had jacked him up and was smashing him down on the ground. And as the Most High would have it, the most of the impact came on my elbow. But when I got him down, he was a lot stronger than I thought. I couldn't get a good grip on him. And when he got away from me, he hadn't been back home since. Now, my present family, I still have those same issues to a degree. never been around, never dealt with my children because they were grown when I came into the picture. But my eldest son thought he was going to be able to curse his mother out in front of me. And I had to show him that wasn't going to happen. It doesn't come to anything physical, but guess what? Had it done so, guess who ultimately I would have had to fight, her and him, because it is her son. And my eldest daughter, beautiful, quiet, and intelligent. But yet, the only request I've ever made of her is to say, yes, sir, to me. And to this day, she never has. So we don't talk. So what we find is our children, when you exercise authority, rebel against that authority, not understanding that they're going to have children if they're normal. And if they don't exercise some type of discipline with their children, they're going to have the same issues that what we have. Who let the dogs out? Let's read what the scriptures have to say. Because in a lot of these churches, you look at the head of these churches and come to find out they can't take care of their own families. Their own children are whoremongers, in jail, and disrespectful. And if you can't take care of your own household, how is it that you think you can take care of the house of God? That's why there's so much division in our communities. In Deuteronomy chapter 21, it speaks on this wise. I want to pick it up at verse 18. Because as my children have isolated me, they don't understand they've isolated themselves from their own inheritance. Because they'll follow behind mama, because mama will take anything from them. But the man that Yah put in the head, if he stands up to be a man, you have to be ready to be alone. Deuteronomy chapter 21, and I'm going to pick it up at verse 18. If a man have a stubborn and rebellious son, which will not obey the voice of his father or the voice of his mother, and that when they have chastened him will not hearken unto them, then shall his father and his mother lay hold on him and bring him out to the elders of his city and unto the gate of his place. And they shall say unto the elders of this city, this is our son. This our son is stubborn and rebellious. He will not obey our voice. He is a glutton and a drunkard. And all the men of his city shall stone him with stones that he die. So shall you put evil away from among you, and all Israel shall hear and fear. See, it's one thing to claim that you love your child. It's another thing to be able to love them enough to put the discipline upon them that will hopefully steer them from the corrupt, vile European system that tells you that your woman should come before anything, and that when your children disrespect you, you should say time out. Ezekiel chapter 14, and I'm going to pick it up at verse 12. The word of Yah came unto me, saying, Son of man, when the land sinneth against me by trespassing grievously, then will I stretch out mine hand upon it, and will break the staff of bread thereof, and will send famine upon it, and will cut off man and beast from it. Though these three men, Noah, Daniel, and Job, were in it, they should deliver but their own souls by their righteousness, saith Yah Elohim. If I cause the noisome beasts to pass through the land, and they spoil it, so that it be desolate, that no man may pass because of the beast. Though these three men were, as I live, saith Yah Elohim, they shall neither deliver sons nor daughters. They only shall be delivered, but the land shall be desolate. Or if I bring a sword upon the land, and say, sword, go through the land, so that I cut off man and beast,